And so each one of these that I read is an explosion. Just so it's just you got to work the analogy in your head. Lorena Gonzalez, the chief officer of the California Labor Federation, which represents more than 2.1 million union members statewide, said, "We have sparks and fires everywhere, and we're not letting it die down in California. We're fanning the flames." So there you go. I took you from literal to analogy, and that's why you tune into this show, to see literal turn into analogy so seamlessly. And to begin with, part of the reason I selected this story was there's a massive hotel worker strike that is on the cusp in California. I don't, as of the right before I began this taping, it had not started yet, but it very well could. They did already score some wins from one of the largest employers, so that kind of helped, I think, stave off the strike for the moment. But unless they get other employers to also sign on to treating workers better, then that massive strike very well could happen. From docks to Dodger Stadium, Los Angeles workers are feeling emboldened. This is from the New York Times, and the New York Times only publishes articles like this when they feel that there's no other choice, that basically everyone knows this information already. They're seeing the writing on the wall. They see strikes happening everywhere, and the New York Times goes, kind of have to say something. So that's part of the reason. So they push off this kind of reporting until they kind of have to cover it. But beyond that, they also sometimes report on it as a form of a warning to the ruling elite. Like the New York Times knows that a lot of their readers are the ruling elite. So sometimes they'll put out an article like this to be like, hey, you rich motherfuckers, you better stop these workers from standing up and demanding that they be treated right, demanding that they be able to sit down. We covered that yesterday, how the U.S. is unique among most countries in that we insist on like all employees, all service employees standing all the time. In a lot of countries, like a cashier could sit down. Like we're just like, no, you have to be in as much pain as possible. In the 2 months since they went on strike, screenwriters have become a fixture outside studios in Southern California, signs aloft as the traffic roars past. In many parts of Africa, theirs would be a lonely vigil, not in Los Angeles. By the way, I just went down 2 days ago to Washington, D.C. and interviewed some of the striking WGA Writers Guild workers that were striking outside of the filming of Captain America 4, because many of these movies and films and TV shows have continued filming because the script is already written. So they're not going to stop because they don't need writers, they feel, although writers often are on set, but they feel they can film without writers. So the WGA was striking outside of the filming of Captain America 4. Kind of ironic, right? They have striking workers outside of Captain America, saying that that film is a scab against the workers. Anyway, at the behemoth ports of Los Angeles. Oh, and I did film those interviews. I'm some of that footage, and I'm hoping to get it to you soon. But at the behemoth ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, operations were disrupted for weeks until West Coast dock workers reached a tentative contract deal in mid-June. Across the city, schools shut down for 3 days this spring when bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and teachers walked out. The cafeteria workers wanted they wanted to be able to eat some of the food as they're serving it, because some of the dog tails and pig anus that gets served to our public school children, and they wanted some for themselves. And it's really not fair to serve children all day, chicken lips and hog hooves, and not get some for yourself. So I side with the workers on that one. Just pop a pig anus every once in a while. It's really not fair to stop them. Now the union representing some 15,000 hotel workers in Los Angeles is threatening to strike this July 4th weekend, just as the summer tourism season ramps up. And more than 100, luckily, the hotel workers in France are not on strike. So if you're looking for a tourist opportunity, head to France. More than 160,000 actors are poised to shut down Hollywood productions if they cannot reach a new contract deal later this month. So that's separate from the Writers Guild. The SAG-AFTRA is deciding whether to join the Writers Guild, and of course that would really shut down all of these films and TV shows. That they would have no chance but to cease production. I already read you the Lorena Gonzalez quote about this being a fire that we are fanning. Starbucks, here are some other big wins and big moments in striking across the country. Starbucks said that it would issue clearer guidelines on permissible store decorations after the union that represents thousands of its workers said some employees were prohibited by management from putting up decorations for Pride Month. UPS and, of course, Starbucks has also been fighting against unions nationwide. There's over, I believe, 300 Starbucks locations that have voted to unionize, and Starbucks is fighting against that in a variety of ways, some of them legal, some of them illegal. UPS, the company's workers have authorized their union, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, to call a strike as soon as August 1st after the current contract expires. West Coast dock workers, as I read each one of these, picture the video I just showed you of the French protest. And so each one of these that I read is an explosion. Just so it's just you got to work the analogy in your head. So I say UPS and you picture, then I say West Coast dock workers and you see people going, and the cops backing away and making a run for it because they can't handle the dock work. So you have to fit the analogy with the words as I go. That's on you, okay? That's not on me. I bring you guys a lot. That part, you got to do it yourself. West Coast dock workers, after a year of prolonged negotiations that have led to delays and declines in cargo, union dock workers and port operators agreed to a new contract. Amazon, over 700 workers at a warehouse in Coventry in the Midlands of England joined a union and are seeking recognition for it to negotiate with the company. Yes, Amazon also fighting against unions across this country. And, of course, through all of this, the Republicans, the Democrats, Joe Biden, nowhere to be seen, right? Not helping the workers, not standing up for them, not fighting for them. And in some cases, often fighting against them, right? Joe Biden jumped in and stopped the railroad workers from continuing their strike in order for them to be treated fairly. And of course, that was just weeks before the Palestine, Ohio train derailment and catastrophe. So Joe Biden and the Democrats they're anti-worker. They're anti-worker. Now, a lot of the big unions tell their workers to vote for Democrats federally because they've been so exploited that they think that's the best way to achieve anything. When in fact, both of these two corporate shit show parties are anti-worker. They're anti-you. They're anti-average Americans, meaning not billionaires. They're opposed to all of that. They don't even want to be in the same room as us. And so the idea that the Democrats somehow stand for workers is utter horseshit on every level. And that's why I think it's high time that we had an inanimate object like the greatest brown rock I found in the Oval Office. Because that rock, that literal rock has never broken a union, has never gone against a union, has never broken a railroad strike, has never sided with corporations. It is an upstanding and amazing hero of the people. Yardrock2024.com. That's all I'm saying, okay? Now, here's the thing. I know many of you are big proponents, big fans of Cornel West. I am too. But Yard Rock 2024, it is anti the two corporate parties, okay? If you're outside of that, then and you can line up with all of its policies, which all the policies are listed at yardrock2024.com. All of its policies are there. If you are a candidate outside of the two corrupt corporate parties that can line up equally on those policies, then I say, all right, more power to you. I have video of these hotel workers. So this is just a few days ago. So the hotel workers may go on strike in California, but this is just a few days ago. 200 of them got arrested for a peaceful demonstration. And this is just a 5-second video sped up of these 200 workers. They were all arrested for civil disobedience, blocking a roadway. And that also shows you which side the police are on, right? The police are on the side of continuing the exploitation of your average worker because they're serving the elite at the end of the day. Yeah, they wait till push comes to shove often to shove it in your face, but they serve the ruling elite. And that is why they arrested 200 workers in California just the other day. So, like I said, the strike could begin any minute now, and could have started while I'm doing this live stream, but we'll find out more as the day goes on.